It has changed dynamically. Several years ago, it was one of those things where it was kind of, we don't want to talk about it. We're using BlackBerry mobile devices to get phone in very specialized situations. But now really it's coming to be looked at as a main tool, both for just enabling people for better touch points back into the communities. And I would say that, the realization of where we want to go with this is absolutely huge. There's still lots of challenges out there that we need to address and that we can help with. But absolutely, I think the momentum has changed 100%. From a device that was just like, hey, it's something that may be nice to have, to this is a tool that I have to have in my workforce. If I don't, I'm going to be missing out. Government and industry are always fun, and I have the unique benefit of covering both of them. So I get to see how certain corporations, certain industries adopt things much faster. A lot of the technology industries are extremely far out there. Education is on the cutting edge, which is always fun and interesting, but they find new and use cases for this. So there is a big difference, but once again, as I mentioned, government's catching up. They want to, but they have very unique challenges, very different security challenges that we're trying to address, and also just massive numbers of people and processes that are in place. Industry can go in there and say, hey, I'm the CIO and I want this technology, it's going to be deployed. And the government mindset, it's a very different process, and we need to help them with better tools, better processes, and really find areas that have innovated, let them leverage those innovations that have already taken place so they can move forward faster. The biggest challenges for mobility are probably first and foremost security. The rest of it is just the breadth and types of devices, number of applications, and all the functionality it does provide. So with all the functionality it gives you, every one of those is something that has to be looked at from a security standpoint. And how do we pull this back to make sure that we're doing the right things? We're enabling our employees to instantiate the right types of things, but the security is just so critical. Heartbleed was a recent example of that, where people thought this was a safe process. They thought they could trust this type of SSL security to go out there, and all of a sudden they're like, holy cow, we had to pull everything back and kind of start over. And I think the mobile era is going to see lots of those stops and starts. So having the right processes, having measures to be able to quickly kind of reconvene the forces where we need to is going to be critical. But absolutely, it's something to look forward to. But first and foremost is security. It's just a number and breadth of devices and applications and everything that you can now do. The mobile device is so powerful, but it is very challenging. BYOD, I think, is very empowering. I've been very fortunate to work in the high-tech industry where we've been able to do this for quite some time. And it allows me to use the tools that I'm most familiar with to do my job. And I think that, if nothing else, is going to attract once again, a larger workforce, more diversified workforce, because they're going to be able to come in there and go, I can do my job best with this tool set. And we need to look at how we can adopt and embrace this with current standards, current policies that are in place, and making sure that as newer devices come on the market, the device proliferation is immense. And if I'm more comfortable on a Mac or an iPad versus an Android, I need to be able to do that in my workforce. And the more that those standards are adopted, the broader it's going to be, the broader the technology is going to be able to allow us to move forward. A lot of times when you look at, outside of just the federal government, but in education, I think that's probably one of the biggest use cases, and that's by far one of the broadest adoptions of BYO. Started with colleges, it's gone down to elementary, K through 12 schools, and as you look at national standard federal testing, things like that, without BYOD, the economies just don't make sense. So BYO is a huge driver, huge cost saver, but once again, it's something that needs to be addressed with the right policies. And once again, it always comes down to security and policy. But the great thing is there's so much more we can do now in those realms to provide the security that we need. I love the mobility environment and what we're doing and enabling. And whether it's enabling new ways to train soldiers, whether it's enabling caseworkers to go take out their information with them when they go and talk to people. And they're no longer behind a desk or behind a glass wall. They're interacting with their constituents. They're out there and they're actually able to see the environments, rapidly update information, pull information back down. And the walls that have come down because of this, the potential that we can do is amazing. FEMA. They're actually out there creating these mobile work environments very fast and responding quicker than ever before. What would take 2 to 3 weeks sometimes to have any type of infrastructure set up, we can do in hours now. And those are the type of things that mobility is going to drive and continue to be the reasons why people are looking at it. And it's not something that can be ignored. It's going to be mainstay. It's going to absolutely be a core component. And you've got to adopt and move forward. a more mobile government is really a government that I think can provide better overall services. And I'll use a kind of a tongue-in-cheek example, even the IRS. But something, if you're being able to go in there and having them have the right information and not have to worry about all this backlog and how do I find all this legacy stuff, but having at a touch point, at a fingertip, being able to go in there and drive that. I want to make sure that the people I'm working with have the tools that I have. And I have all the tools in the world with my mobile device, my back-end systems, and I want my government to have the same thing. They're the ones that are supposedly looking out for me. So we need to enable them to have those tools, right technology, and with that, they're going to provide the level of service that we want and we're happy with.